Okay. Are we getting the auditor on the phone?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
We're all on the gravy train, baby. I love that.
My boys bought it for me. I thought it was great.
That's awesome.
At least they have appreciation.
They do, yes. You have raised them correctly.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Okay, here we go. So,
Good evening, everybody.
good evening. So we're going to call this finance meeting to order. It's 6:03 p.m., September 1st. Scott, I'll let you talk about, it looks like we have some funds that we are going to need for fuel.
Yes. So the first one is, I'm trying to pull up his email now, so I got it in front of me. First one's PD. They are completely out of fuel. Main reason is just the increased cost over the year.
But I thought he said he could take care of his without an appropriation. Does that mean he's handling it within his line items, within the PD, or?
PD doesn't, Taylor, I thought PD needed an appropriation.
Nope, there is, if the committee is okay with it, the state used ARPA funding to pay off localities' costs for public defenders. We estimated our yearly cost this year at $12,000. We haven't spent a dime on it, so I was just gonna move a substantial portion of that over to help Scott finish the year for fuel.
Okay, yep, that works.
But do we need an ordinance for that?
Nope, it's within the same fund, so I'm authorized to move it over.
It's within his line item, so we're good. So then it looks like Jason,
Same boat.
he needs about 4,000. Street money, we need about 10,000 for road repair. Utility person, this is the temporary spot we were talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, and so that needs a staffing ordinance update there.
Correct.
And then utilities, we need to increase across the board in terms of from the general fund, street levy fund, water fund, and sewer fund. Is that for the temporary position, or is that for gas? He gone. Oh, there he is.
Nope, I'm here.
Okay.
So I think I heard the question right. I think so. There should be, and again, I'm sorry if I muddled the message here. I with that update, or not that update, that email to Scott, that was just supposed to be like a helpful bullet points for him to present some of these issues for you guys. But like so Jason needs fuel as well. He takes fuel from several funds, street, water, and sewer. I can take care of some of within the water. I have places to move to help him continue to afford his gas and diesel through there. But the street fund is completely out to $0.
Okay.
So we were looking at increasing that. Scott, I think, can speak better to some of the street needs and the actual street funding, and then the utilities. The actual utilities cost, there's a few large numbers there, is because our utility costs have also increased by a notable margin this year. I don't know if it's been hotter or if the winter was colder, or honestly, it's just the cost of utilities is higher because of fuel costs. But we are at 80 to 90% used in several utility line items in the water, sewer, and general funds. So those were actual for utilities like lights, cooling, heating, that kind of thing.
Okay, so yeah, those are some pretty big numbers there. So for utilities, increase across the board, you have general fund $15,000 of an increase, street levy fund $4,000 increase, water fund $15,000, and sewer fund $15,000. So are all those utilities, or is part of that to pay for the temporary utility person?
I know those are just for utilities.
Okay.
The temporary person, Scott and I went through
We don't need
salary benefits, PERS, Medicare, all that stuff. Those funds look strong. It looks like it seems like those are already appropriated at an appropriate level for that need. especially considering we're only talking about a few months towards the end of the year. The utilities are just different stories. So those are going to be split up amongst a couple of places. If you think about the sewer fund, the sewer plant is nearly out of utilities money, as well as the account we pay, not out of money, excuse me, out of budget, out of line item, as well as things like the sewer lift stations, city hall's utilities number is almost gone, and then so's the water player. So I don't have, from my vantage point, I don't know why the cost is so much higher this year. Again, I can only speculate. It has to do with activity, weather, maybe these facilities are open more because folks are working more, or maybe the cost of electricity is just higher.
Yeah. That's okay. I think most energy costs are higher. I think most energy costs are higher across the board. So yeah, I understand that. I just wanted to make sure I understood like that was just for the utility costs and not for the utility individuals. So that we have that line item, we were good. So all right. So all we need is a staffing ordinance change for the utility department for that individual, and then all the other line items are for.
So I guess I'm out of the loop. What's the temporary person in the utilities?
Oh, yes, you weren't here at the utility meeting the other day, were you?
I am not on that committee, but thank you for asking.
So thank you for bringing it up. I'll let Scott describe the position, since he is.
Sure. So Steve has formally declared that he's retiring at the end of this year from the utility department.
Okay.
So what I'd like to do is bring on a temporary position, starting in about 2 weeks from now, and have that temporary person here at the same time Steve is finishing out the year. And then as Steve leaves, that temporary person roll into the permanent position, and then continue on down that way. So it gives us a little extra manpower, and also gives us a good training curve. And yeah, that's really about it. Then we have another one that is very likely retiring in March. Right now, of course, we have to advertise in-house first. So I don't have anybody interested leaving the police department or the fire department that I'm aware of to go into that position, but should we, of course, they're more eligible to apply for that job. Currently, our pool manager is interested in applying for that job. And then also with the new sewer plant opening, if the person does retire in March from the sewer plant, that's currently where they're at, then any of our folks could apply to go down there as well. Currently, the pool manager is interested in going down there in the long run. Now, again, and if any of these other guys want to go down there, they can do that as well. We've had multiple openings at the sewer plant, and none of them have wanted to go yet. But anything could change. I don't know, but that's long term. So in that short amount of time that we do have him here, we want to get him trained in water as fast as possible. That way, for standby rosters, I mean, the only thing other than snow, the only thing we really get called in for is water leaks. So, and everybody plows. That as long as the Dodge runs, everybody plows.
It runs, just not all four wheels go the same.
Oh, is that what it is? Yes, got it.
Thanks for bringing up water leaks. So speaking of water leaks, so did you guys track the number of water leaks you had like last year? So like last January, do you know how many? Okay. So then I'm curious, after all the water lines that you've replaced and worked on this year, what this January might look like for water leaks.
Now, as far as leaks go and quantify, would you want to look at that as far as like overtime savings, or do you want to look at that as
more from loss of water? Like, I mean, like if we had a lot of leaks that we were chasing like last couple winters, and if we've got a lot of those repaired and we're not chasing as many, obviously that frees up time for us to be doing other projects, but it's from water loss,
Interesting. Well, we can talk water loss another day. But we've had quite the Taylor and I have had many conversations about water loss, especially this year, because we had much higher expectations and of lower numbers, and we didn't get them, and we're learning multiple reasons why we haven't gotten them.
Okay.
And a lot of them is, well, I mean, we know of two reasons.
Yeah, we do.
But that's only two, two
Right.
small reasons in the grand scheme of things. And, one of the other ones is the meters in general, the install, and sloppy craftsmanship on the install.
Okay.
But overall, I look for, it should be getting better significantly. Over the last
That's what
year,
I'm hoping.
unfortunately, the number's not gonna be as good as I would hope it would be, whereas next year, I will expect a much better number. I'm very disappointed in the number. Is that the best way to say it, Taylor? Or at least that's how I see it. Very disappointed in the number we got.
Yeah, I think that's right. I know like VIP, so our utility billing company, SSI, I should have said SSI, there were some things within the water project that surprised them because they have said, and Scott, you and I haven't even talked about this conversation, but they were surprised in some of the ways the meter change-outs have gone because they said, oh, that's going to catch your water loss later. Like essentially, it wasn't the most efficient method. And I'm specifically talking about doing commercial meters last. Ours went that way because of some quirks with our project. But I guess I'm giving out this example to say that Scott and I have both learned, both because the contractor doing water meters has been much slower than promised, extremely slower, but also it quirks in how the order of operations took place, and then other issues we found around the district are we haven't seen the planned change in water loss that were counting on. We've just found more problems to fix at the moment, which is its own victory because now we know that we need to work on those too, but just
The victory, the short-term victory, I can tell you, is the guys not getting called out for big water line breaks on the weekends. That's the short-term victory. The guys are getting their time back, which for the city, that's less overtime. But the water loss savings that I'd hoped for that I can put on paper and turn into the EPA, frankly, we just don't have it yet.
Okay.
Well, I think once you fix the water line or the river, it's gonna relieve the pressure on a lot of these old pipes that are.
I actually kind of thought it might cause more breaks.
It's-
Because it'll put more pressure on that one side.
No, your pressure's gonna go down because right now we bypassed it and it amped up the pressure on a lot of these old other pipes.
Pressure should stay the same because they should adjust it once he pressurizes that side. The pressure should remain the same. The fluctuation, I think, is what you're saying as far as the reduction. So the influx on the system, the ups and the downs on one pipe versus two pipes sharing that load. Short term I'm sure somebody out there smarter than I am, but the water hammer is basically what we'd be reducing because there's more volume to the system that
True,
to take that to impact.
true.
There's a smart way of saying it, but I don't know.
Old pipes out there that just couldn't take the increase.
Water hammer. I don't believe I've,
It's a real thing.
before.
So if you slam a spigot shut
Mhm.
and you hear that bang, it's
Right.
water hammer.
Oh,
That's why they put water, if you ever see rough plumbing, they got that far above the faucets. And that's for that.
I've learned, I'm a car guy, not a plumber, so I've learned something new today.
Yep. Every time the firemen shut the hydrant off too hard, it breaks the line.
Ouch.
If it's an older line.
Is that what happens over on Monterey?
Jackson Street. That definitely happens on Jackson Street.
Yeah, once we get that water line fixed, that should eliminate all.
Every
kinds
time
of
they
stuff.
touch a hydrant over there, the 8-inch breaks and they say, if it wasn't us, of course not. Right.
Anyhow,
But
Okay.
yes.
All right, so just to recap then, so let's do it, because we'll have to do the utility staffing ordinance, we'll have to do that
I already got it on my list to send to Bob.
separate, okay? But as far as the appropriation for the other stuff, I would say we can, put that together. So that would be, 200 fund for fuel, for Jason and $4,000. Street fund, 200 fund needs 10,000 for road repair. And we have that money already lined up for, we gonna use that for patching or are we using that for?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that'll be, more patching and, we got more signs to buy and, just general little stuff like that to finish up the year.
Okay. And then we'll have, for the utility department, we'll have 15,000 increase for, for general fund, 4,000 increase for street levy fund, 15,000 water fund, 15,000 sewer fund, and that's all going to be for utilities for the utility department. Okay. So I mean, I would say we could probably do all that appropriation in one. So 4,000 for fuel for Jason, 10,000 for road repairs and street, and then the other 49,000 for utilities within the utility department. You guys okay with that? That should get us through the end of the year. Okay. All right. So I say let's go ahead and move that forward. We'll do the staffing ordinance, move forward unless you guys have any objection to that. Okay. I think that'll be a good idea. Plus a good transition there, I think, with Steve. So Steve. And then Taylor, you also need a couple ordinances for the Betty Johnson trust, correct? One to bring the money on the books and one to create a Betty Johnson fund.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when we get this accomplished, when do we anticipate the funds actually hitting the account?
That is a great question. I don't know how long Raymond James will take to liquidate the account. It's currently in a money market. And with Raymond James, which is where the original trust had that set up there. So to bring it to People's, I don't know. I should ask that question. That's a great question.
Okay.
I'm going to assume they're going to have a somewhat a deliberate process. But yeah, I will check in with them for sure.
So
we haven't been to this position where it's real for so long.
Yeah.
That's not a question I've gotten to.
Well, if it's just in a money market, that's just cash. So they'll have some paperwork probably for you to fill out to complete the transfer, but then, still it'll be done before the end of the year. So it ought to be.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Does that have to be one piece of legislation, or does it have to be two?
That's a good question. I will defer to the attorneys on that one.
Okay.
I think it can be one, but they might feel differently. So I was gonna, when I hear you guys discuss, I was gonna have them, tell me whatever they need done to make this proper, send it to council. We don't want to miss any details as far as we don't want some snafu later. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think, as we've kind of talked in other meetings, though, and I don't know if it needs to be in the legislation. The only thing is with monies that are used from that fund, I think, I would be supportive. I'm not sure who, somebody suggested it. I'm not sure who came up with the idea. Just any projects that we do, I think it should have Betty Johnson's name on it, since it came from her fund. And that was kind of the intent, I feel like, was make improvements within the city. So I'd be supportive of that. And I don't know if we need that in the legislation to read as such or not, but
Have we talked about how we plan on administering this and what we plan on, or is this going to be further discussion for other committees? Or is this,
I'm sure Scott's probably got ways he wants to spend
I'm
it.
sure he has some ideas, yes.
Can we put our name on a bulldozer?
I'm just asking.
No, actually, especially with, Betty's legacy. I was actually talking to some folks today, and I know Taylor and I have talked.
Yeah, where do I want it, Scott? I feel like if you don't know this,
I know where
I'm gonna be
economic
blown
development.
away.
Okay.
Economic development.
Yeah, I said it. So, but I think, definitely needs to go to committee and, you can, something like Shark Tank or whatever to start getting grants out for people to start businesses up.
Mhm.
I know one of the ideas, I forget even who came up with it, but, maybe even have, 4 or 5, $1,000 or $1,500 grants for the public to, paint their house or something. And if you get more than 5 applicants or however many, then you do a lottery, you have maybe a 2-month application period and then we give it out, something to honor Betty,
And
'cause she,
beautification projects.
yeah, because she was very prim and proper. Everything, she always went out with her hair perfect and her makeup perfect, dressed to the hilt, just very,
Took a lot of pride.
yes, house was always pretty, just something like that. I think that she would really appreciate, and in addition to, other stuff that we need, but I think that we need to recognize her properly with doing something like that, giving back to the community. And, and I think so the conversation I had on the phone today, which was extremely valuable, was for other folks to see the city taking care of this money and honoring her the way that she would want it would maybe encourage other folks to do the same with their money. And, cause you got Baird Brothers that have their foundation, and, there's a couple others out there, but, Betty, I don't know if anybody else has given the city money. I'm sure there has been before my time, but, this is a large amount of money Betty's given to us, and it'd be great to use it for some of the things we need, but I really, again, Taylor's idea of the Shark Tank or whatever to get business started in town, we need something to get stuff going. And I'd really love to see it help people clean up their houses or beautify their houses, and just to honor her and as appreciation for her giving it to us.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that could really, sure, that could do some cool stuff. So
Absolutely, there's all kinds of things. So, cool.
those are good ideas. Okay, well, I think, we'll wait till the money hits the account. Maybe we'll start that, first of the year then maybe and get the ball rolling, hit spring cleaning, right? There you go. Get it all rolling and it's lined up by then, hopefully.
I was just gonna add to if it helps with Justin's question, there's been conversation, as you can tell, but I had no plans on asking council to make it available immediately. And so I would echo Corey there saying we should try for next year and have thoughtful and deliberate process.
Exactly.
But I didn't want Justin to walk away from this question thinking we were like, we'll put it on the books, but it won't be available for spend until when you guys authorize it.
Well, the thing is, like, some of the stuff you're talking about, we could kind of structure it in a way like similar to like how Rocky Community Improvement Fund or, the Oblentis has their fund, so where they give out, maybe it's at a certain date, in the springtime, or Rocky, I think, gives out twice a year now, so, you could have it basically, say, hey, this is our theme for this year. We're hoping to get some people that are interested in painting their houses, and then set the criteria for it, and then have them apply and give them a deadline, and then form a committee, maybe a Betty Johnson committee, and then kind of like, I don't know, I used to review grants and scholarships for Appalachian Foundation for students. And so like of each one of their funds that students can apply for, they have like a summary and a description of the individual who the funds are in honor of, and a little bit about that individual. And so kind of lays that groundwork, everything you just expressed about Betty. And then, so then the committee then who's reviewing the applications can look at, is this Betty Johnson like, this what they're hoping to do with these funds? And then, seeing it through, and, they're the ones awarded the money, then, make it happen. And, but, give a deadline maybe when it applies and then when they'll hear back and then award it and then, go from there. So we can even create the structure around that. So it's a little bit, I think that,
And you mentioned it too, scholarships, that might be a thing where it could become a, a constant thing. Maybe we're taking more donations, if that keeps the word out, we've got this Betty Johnson, the fund that does all these different things, and maybe that'll bring more donors like we've had for different things in the city too. We can keep this thing going past just the initial donation too.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Okay, so yeah, Taylor, if you can talk to Bob and see what's required for, bringing that money on board and what we need for the fund. And then just having that lined up for, next council meeting as well. And then, I know Justin and I, we've talked, more about Rita, and I think both of us would, like to see that come on board. Dan, I'm not sure if he wants that to happen, but personally, I think we should consider that, and I think that we'd like to get that rolling. I mean, at least Justin and I, we talked about it a little bit, but I won't speak for you, Mr. Booth, but,
I'm used to it, I'm married.
yep, okay. So if,
So do you want me to have Bob prepare that legislation for full council?
Yes,
I think so, yeah.
yeah, next time we can bring it out.
Mhm. Just because you don't have enough to do.
Okay.
That's more on Taylor's plate anyway.
Okay. I need to talk to Nick a little bit more on Dora. Maybe change up a couple things. So that'll go back to Nick and maybe we'll meet up again. So we talked in street committee about doing a letter from council to the jail.
Yeah.
And I talked to the asphalt folks that wrote that letter, and what I tell you guys was 125. They said add, I wrote it down here, 15% just to be safe for next year. So,
Pushing 150.
yeah, 150 just for that. And then if you want to, I have not made it up there yet, Greg, to see the condition of the guardrail, to know how much. I know guardrail's expensive. If it's just a matter of changing a couple pieces that already exist, that's something that we could probably get away with cheap on our side where our guys just go change it out. But if we're talking about installing new and having a company come in from Columbus or something like that, again, that little itty bitty section on Church Street costs a fortune. So the question I have for the committee is, how do we want to structure this letter? How much I'm happy to include the bid that we got as proof and explain why we're asking for more, because honestly, it should be probably for next year. That way they can budget for it and we can budget for it.
And it's a good time to be asking for it.
Going into the year, how do you want me to structure the letter?
Well, I mean,
Seeing as how we're concerned for the safety of the prisoners that they cut loose in our city, we would like smooth roads for them to walk down.
and maybe
What about
put a
walking
sidewalk.
path? Painted,
Yeah,
you
no
want a
kidding.
painted path as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, how about that?
we don't want
Paint's
prison
expensive
potholes.
nowadays.
Lit going into Booth's driveway.
Stop here for your free meal.
Yeah. First meal here.
Yeah.
Present
Well,
voucher.
obviously, safety for pedestrians it's gotta be paramount on that road, because it's literally a curvy country road with
Yeah.
no light,
Yeah,
no
it's dark up there.
curve, no nothing.
Yeah.
Until you get to my house, and then it becomes, the promised land. But, not so much, dogs run them off, generally. I think safety wise, that's a big thing. If they're gonna turn these people loose where they have to walk into town,
Yeah.
sooner or later, someone's going to get hit.
So, or if they don't want to do that, then, well, then maybe we should get that contract back where they have to come pick up their prisoners and haul them back to their county in which they came.
I was just worried about fixing the road.
Yeah. So about the
We went
road,
off- we went off a little
yeah,
sidetrack.
I think,
But and not to mention, I mean,
I think it's-
they're the majority use of that road.
They use that road,
What do we have, 5 houses in the city on that road?
within the city, ooh, I don't know, that
Well,
many?
if you go past Robbins Road, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses on that road, past Robbins Road.
Yeah.
And, they run big trucks up there, they run, the cruisers, the employees and everything else. So hands down, they're the majority users.
Say 90% of that uses, yeah.
And if we were to take solely the revenue made off the taxes to pay for that, it would take 5 years of nothing but that revenue to pay for that road. So,
Well, and by the time you're done with that 5 years, you're starting all over again. So then the city makes absolutely nothing off of that.
right, the customer of that road is the jail.
Yeah.
And,
So, I mean, I think that's all viable. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, like, because that's all factual, right?
Right.
It's, evidence that we can prove, that they're the majority user of that. I know there's some folks that go out of town that way, they live on that road beyond the city. But it's still not as far as I understand, there's no large equipment or anything goes that way. No large trucks really go that way.
to the jail they do.
Yeah.
To the jail they do, but
Right.
not further down the road out the city that way.
Well, no, they,
Yeah.
It's just worse out that way.
Yeah, so I don't think, personally, I don't think there's any reason why they would balk at the idea of us asking them for funds, because it's mutually beneficial, and it's also, they have an investment in that road, so,
and I think us offering to pay, well, I guess back to the original, if we split it 5 ways and we have a fifth in it as well, I mean, that's
Right.
not,
which
that's
is,
not us asking for them to pay for everything.
right. So.
You want me to do that then? Just add the 15%, split it 5 ways, and add maybe 20,000 for guardrail or 15,000 for guardrail? I mean, what do you guys want me to do for that?
I don't know if I would throw a dollar amount out there, only because everything's subject to change, right? So, I mean, you could say we have a quote and we were told to put 15% on it for next year, but like that is completely, I just don't want a number to get locked into that somebody's gonna say, well, you said it was gonna be 150. And then, we're eating the difference on anything and they're only putting in X amount, right? So, and just say that we're looking to go in this equally with the counties involved, and the city. And, yes, we're trying to make it safer passage for, individuals walking down the hill, and as well as people driving on that road with guardrails and stuff. So, I mean, I think that it is a health and safety issue. Heck, if you want to throw in lights, and if they're curious, that's all right too, because to be honest, some of the times they let go of people up there, man, there's no set hours. So it seems like, they can come off that hill at any time.
You're not wrong.
Now, is Athens County pitching in on our fifth of it?
Then it would be Nelsonville 5th, and then the other 4 counties, Athens, Athens, Hocking, Perry, Vinton.
Actually, there are 5 counties.
There's 5 counties.
So it should be 1/6 then.
Well, 1/6 even better.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I missed one.
Yeah.
So even better. Well, so I guess maybe we need to kick it back to street then, because this is spiraling quick, because you're getting you could rack this thing up to $1 million by a snap of the fingers once you start talking lights and walking corridor, because once you start doing stuff like that, then you have to meet minimum requirements for things. So, I mean,
Maybe you start there and just come down to paving the road.
Paint the road, maybe put some reflective
You can always come down, you can't go back up.
paint on the side or something.
but then once we do a walking corridor, then we're accepting the fact that it's okay to walk down the hill.
Well, put reflective, not maybe a walk corner, put some reflective paint.
Is there paint on that road now?
There's not a thing on that
No,
road.
there's really nice holes
Yes.
So what I would suggest then
that
is,
makes your car go up and down
Well,
like this, so you
but-
get a better spotlight.
if it's, especially if it's a dark road, they should have reflective paint on it at least, as far as side,
The side,
Yeah,
sides and.
there's no markings on that road.
So-
I mean, we can get lines painted on it, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
So,
I don't think we need to make a walking corridor, just maybe some reflective cleaning on the sides.
Take some trash cans, so stop throwing crap in my yard.
no, then they'll aim for the can and miss it, and then it'll still end up in your yard. So,
Nice try. No, I mean, I would.
The can went up in New York because it was car.
Yeah, well, that's probably true too. Yeah, even a little higher, I agree, we don't need to go with, stadium lighting and, bleachers all the way down, but start with the road and the guardrail and balk at that. Okay, well, let's talk about paving then. Kind of negotiate high and come down. Maybe they've got some money we don't know about they want to spend. Being good
But
neighbors.
it does play an interest though for, all parties involved though, that road and.
Sure, I mean, not only the prisoners, but also the police personnel, the law enforcement going up and down that hill. It's not the safest road in the world.
Listen, they do 90 with those bumps.
Oh, I know, yeah, it'll be Chestnut Street. At the top.
So they fly up and down there, huh? So-
Oh,
So I need to volunteer my services. Is that what you're telling me?
oh, no, I've got that locked down, bud.
Oh, you're gonna throw yourself? in
Oh,
trouble.
I've done it for 20 years. Why would I stop
Oh,
now?
my goodness. You'll total them cruisers,
I'm
just
not
like I was
sure.
told I will total.
That's why I do it from the safety of my porch.
Very good, very good.
Well, I think I'm in favor of writing a letter, to all parties involved and, I think, I think it's okay to put it out there. I don't want to get locked into a dollar amount. I mean, if you want to, just say we're looking at sharing the cost 6 ways, in this process, benefits all of us here by doing this. Here's what we've been quoted thus far. We've been told to add 20% for next year. Could be more, could be less, but this is where we're aiming for. This is what we're trying to accomplish. And, honestly, I don't see how any of them would balk at it. I mean,
Have you met them?
well, I mean, if that's the case, then maybe we do it and maybe there's some way we can assess them for it because at the end of the day,
For the toll road.
that, that, I mean,
Wait a second, I live on that road.
at the end of the day, I mean, it's their facility that's,
the jail.
There you go.
utilizing that road the most. And they are the ones, that's the thing, is that road, weight loaded? Are there weight limits on that road? Is that why it's being tore up? We had that issue on Wood Lane. I mean, that's why that Wood Lane got tore up so much and there was actually weight limits they were exceeding those weight limits on going over the bridges.
Well, part of it is right there in front of my house. I think there's a spring or something under there because it's always got water oozing out of the cracks in the road right there above my house. So I think it's part of it. So, and they've got their money's worth out of it. It's last paved in '98, if I recall correctly, from the.
I'd have to go look at the
what
sheet.
Carla had last year when she brought the street, so.
Well, I mean, maybe there's some way to divert that spring,
Yeah, if we tear that thing up,
You
maybe
know,
we can run a
and-
culvert or something to get it.
I mean, I'm not saying, get rid of the spring, I'm just saying divert it,
Yeah.
so it's not damaging to the road and it will last longer. But I think I don't think it's unreasonable in my opinion.
No.
So,
Well, what's the worst they can say? So,
You would put a fountain out in front of your house.
in the middle of the road.
the Dan Sherman Memorial Fountain right out in front of the road.
No, for prisoners to stop and drink on the way down.
They would-
I guess it's just, it's challenging though to budget. We're not gonna give them some sort of like rough number to lock into.
Well, I think Corey mentioned that we've been quoted, we can say that we've been quoted $150,000. That may fluctuate based on market conditions next year, but this is what we're working off of right now.
And honestly, for us, we're gonna have to budget for the full amount in our budget if we're gonna try to get it accomplished next year.
I would recommend no.
Okay?
I'd
Well,
say let's fill them holes, buddy.
okay.
We'll just keep filling them.
Okay.
What's the,
We only have 5 houses on that road. You're true. That's true.
what's the incentive of doing
That's how you
that
know I'm
road?
not corrupt, because I'm not pushing paving the whole road.
I
Just up
would-
to your house.
Yeah.
That's only 75.
That's not one that I would recommend to anybody.
Right.
put on
We have-
priority
We
basis.
have more pressing issues.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would not, I would try for a grant for that one first.
All right. So that's
Plus,
fine.
we're gonna have to cut into it anytime soon for sewer too.
Possibly.
So
Hey, is
maybe-
that-
maybe that can be part of we get a grant for that.
Is that spring, is that a mine thing?
I would assume.
Do you think we can get the state involved with that to help, divert that?
That's a good question.
Last I knew that, I can ask.
Okay, I mean,
Last I knew they were broke as a joke and get rid of the people that manage that, but I'll ask.
I know there are all kinds of mines up there, so.
you know, the other question is, can we do it like they did in Bookville, put a fountain right in front of his house where we can come fill up the.
Don't I have enough traffic in front of my house? I'm guessing the water there wouldn't be as pure. as
Sorry,
what's
Greg,
involved.
is that funny? You like that? Okay.
I was kind of going in mineral water, health benefits,
Maybe I could like bottle it and sell it on the internet or something.
set up a stand out there.
I like the way you think.
I don't think I have, double check.
How much money do they give the prisoners? I can charge exactly that much.
Shoot, that's cash the check.
Hey, I'll get into business.
The last thing I have, and this is just informational, cause I'm just trying to get it out there to get ahead of this, cause I figure there'll be some backlash and I want you guys to be aware of it. So this will be 4 of you. TSAP already knows, and whoever our 2 people are at home, probably do a Facebook post as well. Our parking lot is going to get paved soon. It's not street money. It is, money that was allocated for city hall improvement. The reason why is,
Rougher than Riverside Drive?
no, we got dinged by, Odie. TSAP help me out.
You want me to explain it?
USDA. So we've borrowed so much money from USDA that they've come through and did an audit on us. And one of the many things that they checked on us was our ADA accessibility, and they dinged us on our lot. So our lot is too rough, way out of compliance as far as the angle goes. Even getting to the ramp. The ramp barely meets requirements. It does meet the 4-1 requirement coming up the hill. And the door, but the parking lot does not meet. So, it's getting paved. It's not street money. It's not street money. It's not street money. It's not street money.
Is it street money?
Not street money. So the parking lot's getting paved with not street money. And, please spread the word because there'll probably be a Facebook meltdown when it starts happening.
Over our parking lot?
Yes, because somebody thinks it should have been their street first.
Gotcha.
What did I miss, TSAP?
No, I think that's right. We will continuously get these USDA audits. It's part of our terms for these millions and millions of loans and grants they're giving. And as long as we have those loans, they will do an audit every 3 years. They ask and financial and not financial. The non-financial portions are things that the USDA is there taking all this money from us. We want you to meet to make sure all of your residents can be served completely and wholly, including the blind, disabled, et cetera, et cetera. So essentially, they didn't like the parking lot and a few other small things. They gave us a 3-year time window to make those things happen. Well, less than 3 years. That was the maximum amount of time we were allowed. And I think I will reiterate because I actually do believe as well, I'm in agreement with Scott. There will be people who, when they come in to pay their utility bills or taxes or get a permit or whatever their issue is, they will be upset that their road is not done, but City Hall is done. And the truth of the matter is we are required to do so for ADA disability accessibility. And it is not coming out of anybody's street funds. So nobody lost a street repair because of the parking lot. So I think it's worth saying again.
So, I'm sorry, where's the money coming from?
Yeah, not the street fund, not the street fund.
Are we clear on, it's not the street?
And we had to make other repairs too, minor stuff like putting bars in bathrooms. Actually, we still got to mount some of them and different things that we've had to do to comply.
Really though, where's the money coming from?
Oh, we budgeted for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
It's
already
in
budgeted.
City building,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's already laid.
Yeah.
City building improvements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I wasn't trying to be.
Another example, sorry, I didn't mean, it sounded like it was quiet, but I think I might have cut you off. I'm
You
sorry.
interrupted Greg, it's okay.
No, you're fine.
Sorry, I think it was the delay. come in to talk about their utility bills and specifically utility bills because they apply to everybody in the city. So that is another example of it. We won't use street money for that either. That'll just come from office funds, but we would like to, I don't know what the solution is. I know Braille is one of the solutions, but we would like to explore how other offices handle the deaf or blind who come in and need assistance in those ways too. So we're gonna comply. And honestly, the worst thing that happens is we spend some money and make sure that all of our customers are served fantastically.
Okay.
So when we do the parking lot, maybe we could put up a small sign where the money came from.
There you go.
Kinda
Street funds?
Yo.
I would love to see a sign that says "Not from street funds."
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And when we do the Facebook post or the press release that says we're probably gonna be closed that day, we'll still be open in here, but you won't be able to access us. I'm going to put something in there as well that
Right.
this is,
Maybe they can, maybe pay on a weekend.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Contractors are people too.
Well, I know we did that a lot when we were building the dealership.
How would we handle that situation though when it comes to, police and fire though? On that day?
They'll open the back gate and go out that way. So they'll move the apparatus and just park in the center and then they'll just run out that door over there.
Okay, now you're just gonna park this port or pave this portion or the entire lot?
No, they'll just pay from the fence in front of the fire department all the way around
Okay.
here.
The customer area.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it was so little, cause I had them price it both ways to where it stops at the fire department and then just going over to the fence in front of the fire department. It was so little, just have them go that little bit further over. So,
That'll be good for our police and fire though, when they do come out of here though, they're not like, cause like you can,
oh, that's just wear and tear on our vehicles.
yeah, they just,
Oh, yeah.
just outside where we park there, that's really bad right there. And sometimes they take off a little quick from there.
Yes, now they can go even faster.
Less wear and tear is where I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Reaction time.
Yes, so, but yes, a sign could go there. This was paved with not street funds and, to meet ADA compliance. We actually are putting a copy of the report from USDA on the justification with the PO. So it's in there for ever and ever and ever and ever. So that way, if anybody wants to know why we paved it.
That makes sense. I mean, I think that we have enough folks that are, will benefit from a smooth surface.
I agree, sir, but, you know how it goes.
Okay, and then, so I'm good with that. We can push that forward. And then as far as, the letter, are you good on writing the letter to?
Well, I'll get ahold of Bob and tell him the intent and I'll let Bob write that.
Okay, all right. And then just, I think that we should move forward with that. Are you guys okay with him having the letter written and send it? I think it's a nice ask. I don't think it's a problem. Do you have anything else for us?
I don't. T-Seth, you got anything?
I do not. I'm just thankful you got me set up here on the conference line, so I appreciate that.
Mr. Sherman?
Good.
Mr. Boot?
I'm just happy to be here.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Then, if there's nothing else, then we can go ahead and adjourn at 6:51.
T-Seth, I'm hanging up.
Dylan?
Bye.
Have a nice evening.
Taylor.
So.